A very good day to all of our partners across Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa. The South Africans, of course, it's the middle of the night for you, but if you've registered, you can watch this recording. So this is about the Snapshot Web Dashboards webinar, and it's a listen-only webinar, so you will not be able to partake in any questions, but you can send us questions via the chat box or via email afterwards with absolute pleasure. I'm joined by Adrian, who's helping me through on the demonstration, and we'll keep this brief and pretty short, around about under 13 minutes is what we're looking for. The webinar is being recorded. We'll send you a link afterwards, so that is it. Without further ado, this particular webinar, the Web Dashboards version 2 webinar, follows on from our first webinar, which covered the new Snapshot version 2. The Snapshot version 2, as you remember, allows customers to customize existing dashboards and partners to create brand new dashboards, either from the accounting and payroll or from another SQL source. We'll send you the link in the recording email afterwards as well. The demonstration will be just a quick visual on Snapshot web dashboards. Adrian will tell you where to download and give you a few installation tips. And then I will just finish off as well on some other upcoming stuff, and then we'll close. There won't be a Q&A, but of course, as I mentioned, if you wish to send information or questions through, do so with pleasure. So just to put the web dashboards into context, what you're looking at now is the screenshot of the web dashboards module. And customers would use this add-on module, which is free, by the way, to access dashboards from anywhere, via a web browser or an iPad or an Android tablet. So the customer needs to install Snapshot first, and then they would then simply open the dashboard they want to view. Adrian will show us one or two examples there. Just some examples. Sales reps can access their own dashboards while they're on the road. Management can access their own departmental profit and loss dashboards. So if they're traveling, if they're overseas or in another province or state. And then even departmental managers could access permission-based payroll and HR information. Pretty much limitless data. You can even allow the customer to access specific dashboards. So there you are. So without further ado, we'll hand over to Adrian. This is not an in-depth demonstration. We can't show you much more than what you can see in the Snapshot desktop version. But Adrian will just give you a quick overview and some installation tips, etc. So Adrian, without further ado, welcome to the Web Dashboards webinar, and I'll give you control of the mouse. Good morning, good day, and how are you?
Perfect, thank you, Pete. Yeah, so I'm going to do a quick demo of Snapshot for Web. I'll just show you the login interface, the main menu or the main interface of the application. I'll go through the tabs and categories. I'll sort of talk about how that relates back to the desktop version. And then I'll just do a quick demo of running a dashboard, what it looks like, how you can interact with it, and then just some benefits and whatnot on the user interface and how it's mobile and whatnot. So I'm just going to jump across to the demo now. So if I come across here. Perfect. So we've already got the web address plugged into this into Chrome here. So this is the login screen. So it prompts you for a username and password just the same way as the desktop version would. One thing to note here is the standard username and password for the administrator account in the desktop version won't work through this web interface. And this is a security decision that we made. Because this web interface could possibly be exposed across the internet over, not necessarily secure lockdown scenarios, we don't want a generic username and password set up so that anyone could guess it and get in. So we have to change the password or the username to get access to the web interface, and that's just purely a security feature. So you just simply log in. We've already got the username and password plugged in here. And then you're presented with the main menu. So this menu is a lot like the desktop version. So we've tried to mirror the interface as much as possible from the desktop experience to the web experience. Along the top here, you can still see you've got your categories. This again is the same in the desktop version. You've got your different tabs of community dashboards. customer dashboards, and your favorite dashboards. So if you've got any custom dashboards, or if your client has any custom dashboards, they can see the same dashboards in their web interface. Scrolling down, you can see the same categories, see the dashboards broken down into the same categories. If there's more dashboards than fit on the screen, you can scroll through the pages and see more. But I'm just going to show an example of the inventory analysis. So to view a dashboard, you select it from the list. So I've just clicked on this item here, and then you click View Dashboard. So the dashboard loads up. It loads the data straight from the database, and there you have it. So the web version mirrors exactly what the desktop version does in terms of layout and elements. And performance-wise, it's pretty much the same as well. So these elements here on the screen are responsive. They are built around HTML5 and CSS3 components. So they're they're obviously very responsive and very flexible on which devices you can use. So this dashboard could work on something like an iPad or an Android device, or any device that has access to a reasonably modern web browser. So Google Chrome would be fine. Microsoft Edge, any of these devices which have modern web browser technologies will work fine with this. As well as that, the mobility factor is quite important with this. Obviously, as Pete said, you could have a sales dashboard on the field on an iPad, and just that sort of functionality is just not available with a desktop application. And if it is, it's going to be a reduced functionality. This gives you the full performance that you could possibly have on like an iPad or something like that anywhere, if that's what the user chooses to have. So that's a bit of a quick rundown. So you can see here we've got a grid up here. You can scroll through the data. We've got a couple different elements here, like a card, some charts and whatnot. And you've got your same filtering options. This one doesn't actually have any filtering options on it, but it's the same sort of interface and filtering as the desktop version. So I'll just jump back to the slides. So what I'll do now is I'm just going to go through some installation tips and some gotchas. So just some tips so that if you run into these issues while installing it or configuring it, you might stick and remind you how to actually configure it. So if I go to the next slide here. So where do you actually get the application from? So we've got all of the executables and installation guides all available on our website. So if you go to plussoftSolutions.com/software downloads, you'll be able to scroll down here. You've got access to the getting started guide, how to set up a dashboard guide, but down below is the Snapshot latest version, and underneath it, it's got website files. So you want the website files for the web version, and you can click and download that, and there's some installation instructions there as well. So must-have skills. So preferably, because this is not as basic as the desktop version, we would prefer that people configuring and setting this up would have some IT system admin skills. So an application server to set up might be just a little bit beyond a standard user's sort of technical abilities. So preferably if someone has a bit of experience with IIS, an SQL server and stuff like that, they'll find this procedure a lot easier to sort of set up the application. It's not like you don't have to, but preferably it's just going to be a lot easier if someone's got a bit of know-how in that area. You can always still come back to us with questions and whatnot. It might be a little bit easier for an administrator to do. So configuration awareness. So I'm going to just show some examples here of the installation process and just some things to be aware of when configuring the application. So first of all, we've got the minimum requirements here. Pretty much any sort of modern Windows machine that can run anything from IIS 7 and above. So IIS 7 is compatible and IIS 8 is compatible as well. You need to have the Microsoft framework, .NET framework version 4 or above. So 4.5, 4.6 still fine, just as long as it's above 4.0. The Snapshot PC application running operational. So this is required as well. You do need to set up the desktop version, connect it to a database, and have it working with dashboards before you can use this. The desktop version has all the components for the initial setup of Snapshot, whereas the web version only hooks into those dashboards. So you do require that desktop version to get off and running, basically. You obviously need a Snapshot license and rights to install software. So to install this application, you will need administrative access to do things in IIS Manager and whatnot. And yeah, so you just need to have permissions to do that. Another thing I'll just mention here is external access. So if you want to access over the internet, so you've got a choice. You can have it locally within your local network, still access obviously via browser, or you could expose that across the internet. So what you need for that is, if you're hosting it internally, you need a static IP address, DNS setup. So if you've got a domain that you already own, you might want to just put in snapshot dot your domain name. And as well, SSL would be preferred. So especially if you're doing it across the web, you know, you've got important private information that's going across the internet. So an SSL is heavily recommended there. Going into the next bit here, once you've done the basic installation, I'm not going to go through the whole installation, but once you've actually installed the application, this is the part where you actually configure the connection to the database or to the Snapshot database. Generally, you're going to install Snapshot Web to the iNet pub www root folder, most likely. And in there, you'll have a web config file. So to connect it to your Snapshot database, you'll need to put in your SQL server and the instance name, the name of the SQL database, and then just the Windows authentication or the SQL authentication to log into that database. So you need to do this before you actually navigate to the website. This is the first step after doing the initial install. But obviously it's required so that the application can talk to the database. Some other little configuration bits and pieces that I've put in here. This is under the application pool. So I've set up here an application pool for Snapshot. I've gone to advanced settings. What you'll need to do is, for starters, you need to make sure that you're running with version 4 or above of .NET. And then the second drop-down I've got there is enable 32-bit application. So this is a 32-bit application, so you will require that to be ticked. Going over to this right-hand side here, I've got down here enable preload. So when setting an application up, you can enable preload for that application, and that just makes the application, it will keep the application in memory, and for each user coming along, it'll be a lot quicker to start up. There won't be any lag. Going to the login screen, it should just come up straight away because it's already loaded into memory. The final little bit here is, if you get this error message here, what we've done is we've put together a library of different downloads that you may require if your server is missing them. So in this case, we require the Microsoft.reportviewer.webforms DLL to be installed on your computer. This file is available as a link within the installation guide. So as you go into the installation guide, we've got links there to download these files. It'll take you straight to the Microsoft website, and it's just a matter of going next. And it'll take about 5 seconds to install. So this is one of the DLLs. It doesn't necessarily come automatically with Windows Server, and it is required. So you will need to install that if you get this message. This other one down here in the bottom right is exactly the same scenario. It's another component that the report viewer uses, just an underlying DLL. So again, it's just a Microsoft download. It's only about 10 megabytes, I think, and it will take 2 seconds to install. So yeah, that's a bit of a pretty brief rundown of the installation process, things to be aware of during the configuration, and as well just a demo of the application, how to view dashboards, what they look like, and how compatible they are with different mobile devices. So Pete, I might hand back to you if that is okay.
Awesome. Awesome. Thanks so much, Adrian. Just a reminder, if you didn't take us up on the offer for one-on-one partner training to install and license and set up both customer and partner versions, just email us afterwards. And then some for your information on the future Snapshot, we are revamping the front page as customers log in. We're also intent on making the connection to the database a little bit easier and some other UI stuff, so watch your inboxes there as well. The new snapshotbi.com website is on its way. In fact, I just had a look at a quick little visual this morning at it. If I can quickly switch across there, let's have a look think it's somewhere about here. Yep, so that's all looking good. And that's quite simply, we're doing that because Snapshot is now standing on its own, doing quite well. So that's pretty awesome there as well. And there you have it. That is our 13-minute webinar. I think we're just smack on 13 minutes, maybe 30 seconds over. If you have any questions, send them to us at info@plusoftsolutions.com. And thank you very much for your time this morning. Welcome to your day as the South Africans come on board. Must be about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. And of course, the New Zealanders, it's late afternoon or early afternoon. And of course, the Australians, 11 o'clock, 10:30, depends on where you are in Australia. Thank you very much. Enjoy your day. Take care.